Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you the Caro Kann defense. So the Caro Kann defense starts with e4 and then black plays c6. So this is like the French defense. You're trying to play d5 again. So there are many ways to handle the Caro Kann defense. You can play d4, knight f3, knight c3, or even c3. Anything is fine. So let's start with d4 at first. So after d4, black plays d5, and you can move the pawn up just like in the French defense with e5. This is called the advanced variation. And white has a lot of space, so the main line is e6, and then you play f4. So the good thing with this is that first you're taking up space on the king side and black doesn't have much space. So if you like, you can play check or just normally dollop. Obviously this knight is going to take some time to dollop if it's going to the center. So if we go again here, you can play bishop d7, or you can play knight h6. But the problem with knight h6 is that after trades you have double pawns. That isn't such a bad thing, but white has better space and obviously develops better. So if we go back again, instead of the advanced, after this you can also just play bishop f4. That's also fine because the bishop is getting developed and black still has less space, and you can always attack with c4. So let's just say something like this happens and then you play c4. So after takes, obviously white is way better than black. He has two bishops. White has no space at all. I mean, yeah, black does have space but not much. And the queen's coming and attacking here. The knights can always develop, and these bishops can always attack if the position is opening up. So instead of the advance, you can just take. This is called exchange variation, and then you obviously go back to some kind of Sicilian or something, like with a half open c file. So this is also fine. Or instead of exchanging and going a bit more aggressive at the starting, so let's just say black plays this. So after this, the best move for the Caro Kann defense is f3. This is called the fantasy variation. I know the computer is saying that it's better for black, but it's actually better for white, because after some play you have two central pawns. If black takes, then you have two central pawns. So let's just say take takes, and if they attack, then you just attack, and after some moves, this is like some kind of Alekhine defense. So you have a lot of space here. If you play c5, then the knight just comes back here, and it's centralized, and the only way to trade it off is this. So let's go back again. If they don't do the knight, if they play something else like bishop d7 or e6 or any type of move, the reply is easy. Just develop your pieces, and the best move for black here is actually to sacrifice a pawn and play e5. So there are many ways to protect it. The best move here is knight f3. So you're protecting the pawn, and if takes, then you have a bit better. So actually, instead of taking, you should actually play bishop c4, because if you take, then there's going to be a serious attack. So black can develop with tempo, and if you try to block it, it's also fine. But this is better for black, because after the knight has moved, obviously the queens are going to trade, and white is going to have no castling. So again, if we go back, instead of taking, you should play bishop c4, gambiting the pawn. This can always be taken, but you're obviously, this is called the Marozzi gambit, where you sacrifice the pawn and you get a lead in development. So let's just say this happens, and then obviously white is way better here after castles, because he has an open file, and this is always an attack, and the knight can always move. So instead of that, if you find e5, this is the best move. So you can also play c3 is also fine, protecting this pawn, but knight f6 is actually the best. I mean knight f3. So again, if we go back, if you don't want to play the fantasy variation, and let's just say they don't take, so what if they play something like knight f6? Then you just attack them, and obviously the knight has to go back somewhere, and white is better again here. And this also transforms into one of the advanced variations. Now this is type of an advanced variation, but the only thing is that the knight has moved, and obviously white is better here, because first of all, this knight used to be here, but now this is blocking this knight and the bishop and the queen at the same time. So it's blocking 3 pieces from moving. So if we go back again, instead of the fantasy variation, you can also just play knight c3, and after takes, this is the main line in the Caro Kann defense. So you can play knight f6. After takes, you have open files. So this file is open and this file is semi-open. So instead of that, you can also just attack this knight that's been centralized. This is called a classical variation. Or instead of that, if they strike and then you don't want to do anything, you can always play bishop d3. So this is also fine, but here I think that the advanced variation is good, but my favorite after d5 is the fantasy variation, because that's one of the only best moves to crush the Caro Kann variation. So this is actually a very bad idea, because after takes, you lose your queen. You don't actually lose it, but you lose the castling opportunity, and black has many attacks here. So he can gambit another pawn, and then after this he has an attack. After pushes, you can always target, and this is also a threat. So obviously the king has to go back and black regains his pawn. So those are the lines in the Caro Kann defense. Instead of instead of d4, you can also play f4, trying the same thing. But the problem is that black can push, and black has more space now. So again here, instead of f4, knight c3 is also a move, and c4 is also a move. This is called the accelerated Panov attack. So this is actually an equal trade, but then the queen gets attacked again. So queen has to go back. So they can also play e6, trying to play it again and putting a queen's pawn. So instead of the accelerated Panov attack, you can also play d3. This is called the Breyer variation, a very solid move. And after this, it's always guarded. You can put your bishop here, or just develop normally, put your knight, and stuff like that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.